Have you ever wondered what Five Nights at Freddy's would look like if it was a cartoony hand-drawn juggling game with a random sense of humor and murderous German robots? Was that too specific? Hi fellas, welcome back to my channel where the content changes every single video, if I even bother to make one. Today we're talking about a game that's technically not out yet. But hold on, don't click on another video just yet. There is a demo out, although a fairly short one. Let's cut to chase. Today I'm talking about Five Nights at Frederick. God, I'm sorry for butchering that. Let's get into it. Five Nights at Frederick is a game by Ryan, announced on January 14th through the developer's Twitter. The game presents itself as a seemingly reimagining of the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, with the core difference being the visuals. As mentioned before, this game is entirely hand-drawn, with a cute and simple cartoony style to give it more personality. And let me say this right away, I adore this game's look. There aren't many noteworthy hand-drawn fan games out there, but this one definitely stakes out for not being afraid to look exaggerated and silly, while also maintaining the general concept of animatronic mascots in a pizzeria. There's no real plot as of right now, just your typical pizza restaurant looking for a security guard. Although the newspapers here tell us that the position has already been taken. This is Alan Fritter. He's our protagonist and definitely doesn't strike any resemblance to another well-known character in the FNAF series. Yep, your job is the usual. Watch over the place and its attractions from 12 to 6 AM. Currently, the demo only allows us to play the first few nights, which are enough to introduce us to the main gang. Before I get into each character and how they work, it's important to note that every mechanic is spelled out to you through a small member handbook. This thing is super cute and a great way to get players into the gameplay loop without excruciatingly long phone calls nor walls of text. The first character we need to worry about is Clara. Throughout the night, you will need to ensure that pizzas are being cooked in the kitchen by pressing the big and obvious Cook Pizza button. If no pizzas are being cooked, Clara will take matters into her own hands and attempt to cook pizzas herself, which will lead to a fire. Don't worry though, you can deal with this through the sprinkler system. This is essentially the game's music box mechanic, with the main difference being that it doesn't take up 90% of your attention throughout each night. The second and most prominent thread in the game is Bernard, who will roam the building and attempt to enter your office through your doors. Simply turn on the lasers to keep him out. This is obviously just a reskin of the classic door mechanic, and while it's not the first time we've seen it being replaced with lasers in a fan game, it's definitely a nice touch and a fitting one for a game like this. The third character is Felix, who, I guess, gave up on being a pirate and became a gambler instead. You'll see his arcade wheel spin throughout the night, and whenever it's not spinning, Felix will come into your office. Don't worry, he's not afraid just yet. Simply go to his camera and spin the wheel again. The final character we are introduced to is Friedrich himself, who has developed a strange interest in the vent above the main stage. You can check on him from the vent camera, and once he's close enough, use the lasers to send him back on stage. The mechanics are pretty straightforward and easy to learn, which is balanced with the juggling nature that this game has. It's definitely nice to have a different mechanic for each character, and the gameplay loop itself is really satisfying and fun to learn. Another thing I'd like to mention is the game's animations. The developer took full advantage of the game's visuals by making the characters feel alive. Things like Felix running into your office, Clara cooking a pizza, or Friedrich screaming in pain are absolutely fantastic and hilarious to say the least. The jumpscares too are really well animated and full of personality. In terms of atmosphere, the game doesn't really have an ambience, which actually helps the game in its favor. It honestly makes the game slightly more tense once you get into the loop of dealing with each character. I genuinely panicked a few times on night 2, which made me realize just how much an ambience theme can help ease the tension in games like these. Aside from the 2 playable nights, once you beat the game, you will also unlock an extras menu and a custom night. I thought about attempting 20 mode, but it's not really my cup of tea. I'm sure there are others who are willing to attempt it though. The full game is set to release either later this year or early 2025, which will include new content like a full week and 3 additional characters, which definitely explains why the full main cast is included in this demo. In conclusion, Five Nights at Frederick is a very promising game and is one of the few that understands how to make a traditional FNAF gameplay style fun and engaging. If you haven't checked the demo out, I absolutely recommend that you do. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm gonna go back in my corner, I guess.